What's going on? It's Fight Season MMA, and today I want to make a video talking about I think that Islam Makhachev is a better fighter than Khabib Nurmagomedov was. Now, this might be a very hot take, but I do want to make a video explaining why I believe that this is possible. If you guys enjoy the UFC content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. 98% of my viewers who watch my videos are not subscribed, so please do not be in that 98% and be in that 2% of my viewers. Please go down there and hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, and it would mean so much if you guys went down and supported the channel by hitting that subscribe button. Also, if you guys leave a comment down below, I will do my best to respond to it as quickly as possible. I try to respond to the comments as quickly as possible. Now, thank you guys for enjoying the UFC content, but let's get right into the video. I believe Islam Makhachev is a better fighter than Khabib Nurmagomedov. Okay, so I just want to start off by saying that this is not a very big difference between Islam Makhachev and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, either one, if you told me that if someone believed that Khabib was a better fighter or you believed Islam was a better fighter, I would not strike any concerns because that is a very valid take. But I do want to dive in a little bit to talk about why I believe that Islam Makhachev is a better fighter rather than Khabib. And it's not for anything other than what you think, but let's just talk about the wrestling first. Let's compare the wrestling ability. Khabib Nurmagomedov is an amazing wrestler. You look at his fights with Conor McGregor, his fights with Dustin Poirier getting the sub, and I'm assuming a lot of other fights in the UFC where he was able to implement his wrestling ability on his opponents. Look at Islam Makhachev. In Islam's wrestling ability, he used against Alexander Volkanovski. He used some of it against Dustin Poirier. He used some of it against Charles Oliveira. Used it against Dan Hooker. Used it against Bobby Green. They both have a really good wrestling ability. The difference is Khabib is a lot more reckless with his wrestling. Khabib would go out of his way to get the takedown, whereas Islam is a lot more calculated in everything that he does on the wrestling ability, and that is the biggest overall difference between these two fighters. Yes, I know that they're great friends, and I understand that Khabib and Islam are both the greatest lightweights in history, but you look at them two, Khabib is a lot more reckless, whereas Islam is a lot more calculated, and it's just a pick your poison standpoint at this point. Khabib, if you want someone who's really reckless, you go Khabib. But if you want someone who is really, really, really calculated in all their movements and everything that they do, you want to go pick Islam. And that is ultimately the biggest difference between the two. But the second biggest difference, and this is the main reason on why I think Islam is a better fighter than Khabib, is the striking. If you guys watched my recent video on my top 10 best strikers in the UFC, I had Islam at number 4 on that list. And you might think that that is absolutely crazy. And someone comment down below, Islam Makhachev is a better striker than Israel Adesanya, and 100% he is. Islam is such a calculated fighter in the UFC, and the reason I believe he is better than someone like Israel Adesanya, Michael Venom Page, Ilia Topuria, Islam just knows how to strike, and he has a feel for it. You look at the Dustin Poirier fight, and the only way you could have told me that Dustin Poirier would have won that fight was if he outstruck Islam Makhachev. Islam 100% outstruck him. There was no competition. No doubt in my mind that Islam was getting the better of Dustin Poirier on the feet, and that is something that you could not tell me that happened months ago. If you would have said that Islam went in there and outstruck Poirier and showed me the pictures of Dustin's face and getting bodied, I would have said that you were lying. But Islam is such a calculated striker. The only thing that I have to point to is the second Alexander Volkanovski fight. And yes, I understand Volkanovski doesn't have the greatest chin, and I understand he took that fight on 10 days' notice. But it doesn't matter if you took that fight on 10 days' notice. Getting knocked out in 3 minutes versus an experienced fighter, or knocking out an experienced fighter in 3 minutes like Alexander Volkanovski, who is no pushover, he was the #1 pound-for-pound fighter at that time, is an absolute massive achievement. And yes, I understand that Khabib has some amazing striking too, but Khabib's striking is a lot more reckless, and this is going back to my biggest difference between the two, is their reckless and calculated ability. Everything that Khabib does is reckless. His wrestling, his striking, everything has that wild nature to it, whereas Islam is super calculated in everything that he does, and he was conditioning that body kick over Alexander Volkanovski. And what did he do? He went in there and absolutely bodied Alexander Volkanovski straight to the temple, knocking him out cold. And that is why I believe that Islam is a better striker than Khabib, because of that calculated nature and every little thing that he does. If you gave that striking ability to Khabib, Khabib would be the greatest fighter of all time, no doubt in my mind. And Khabib was 29-0. And yes, I understand that Islam has a loss on his record, but that was a fluke loss. If you looked at, he got knocked out. He was winning that fight and got knocked out immediately. But like I said, the one loss doesn't really matter. Some of the greatest fighters of all time have losses. And even though Khabib did retire in his prime, I do think that Islam could not only beat any single lightweight in the world right now, I think he can beat any welterweight in the world right now. I really want to see Islam Makhachev versus Leon Edwards because I think that was Islam's calculated nature, his wrestling ability, going up against someone like Leon Edwards would be one of the best fights that the UFC could ever make. But ultimately, that's in the future, and I'm talking about now Islam versus Khabib, and it's just a pick your poison standpoint, and I value the calculated nature of Islam over the reckless nature of Khabib. Not saying I wouldn't take Khabib over a lot of fighters because Khabib is one of the greatest to ever do it, but Islam's calculated nature is something truly special. And to see him see all the strikes coming in his direction, to see him be able to identify and condition different body kicks and ultimately understand that when he's in danger and when he's not in danger is something truly special. And that is why I believe that Islam Makhachev is a better fighter than Khabib. It is really close though. And like I said to start the episode, if you told me that you believed Khabib is a better fighter, I have no doubt in my mind and I believe you because it is that razor close and it is just an opinion on what you want. Do you want the reckless nature or do you want that calculated striking and wrestling ability? Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fights in MMA and my take that Islam Makhachev is better than Khabib Nurmagomedov. Like I keep reiterating, please don't flood my comments saying that I don't think Khabib is good because that is absolutely not what I'm saying. Khabib is 100% the greatest lightweight of all time right now, and that is why I believe that he is still in the conversation versus Islam Makhachev. Even though I do believe Islam is a better skilled fighter, that still doesn't mean that Khabib isn't an amazing fighter. Well, thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys want to go down below, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing is the best way to support the channel, and I'm on my road to 500 subscribers, so please go down there and show your support. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and please leave a comment down below who you think is better, Islam Makhachev or Khabib Nurmagomedov, and I will catch you guys very soon.